I probably don't need to tell you about the trucker convoy that's making its way to Ottawa right now. It's already broken international news, but if you're unaware, let me just quickly bring you up to date. See, these truckers are tired of the mandates, and especially the most recent ones, that are meant to impose vaccination on them, basically if they want to keep their job and their livelihood. Now, of course, there's a lot of pushback, and that's what's brought this convoy together. Not only from coast to coast to coast are truckers showing up in Ottawa to protest these mandates, not only for the trucker community, but as well all of these mandates that have been imposed by our federal government. They're also coming up from the States. And in today's video, we're going to talk to a real trucker to get his perspective on the situation, find out what it's like from that side of the fence, and to hear what he thinks not only about the convoy, but as well as some of this extremist rhetoric that's been coming from our Prime Minister.
The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing.
Trying to bring people together is not always compatible with science, with respect for human rights, with the best way to move things forward.
We're paying for the provincial vaccine passports. You need to know that if you've done the right things, you get to be safe. You get to be rewarded for having done the right things. And those people who still hesitate, who still resist, well, they won't get to enjoy the same things that those who've done their part for others.
Mais il y a aussi des gens qui sont farouchement opposés à la vaccination.
Qui sont extrémistes.
Qui ne croient pas dans la science, qui sont souvent misogynes, souvent racistes aussi. C'est un petit groupe, mais qui prend de la place.
All right, so first, for our viewers, could you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
We are a trucking company out of Regina, Saskatchewan, and we serve Western Canada with critical equipment, all heavy equipment, construction equipment. Yeah.
And so, of course, you've heard about the Freedom Convoy. I think everyone around the world has heard about the Freedom Convoy now. What's your take on that?
It's a great initiative taken by truckers, and I think they're fighting for our freedoms, basic freedoms, and I think there's a lot of pressure around them to stop them from doing what they're trying to do. And I hope they get to what they want to get to. It's unbelievable how everybody's gotten together on this one, and a lot of unity. Not just from people who are in trucking industry. It's also from people who are frustrated with current restrictions in place, which are not required.
And I was going to ask you, to your best understanding, what would you say the message is that they're conveying? Because I think a lot of people think of this as anti-mask, anti-vaccine, but from what I've heard, they're very not talking about the vaccine. This is about the mandates. Is that the same view you've gotten?
Yeah, no, it's mostly about mandates. It's about put it this way: when you get sick, you stay at home, and we've been taught that. And we know how to take care of ourselves and our kids, and we don't need government to tell us what to do, what not to do. I think it's not about vaccines at all. I've never judged anybody by that, and I just think it's about just restrictions, just the mandates. They're not required. They're grown-ups.
And that's the thing too, is like a lot of truckers, there is a lot of solitary time, and for the most part, when you're in a truck, you don't have coworkers that you're dealing with. You are very much alone. And I think to mandate, especially onto that group of people, it seems odd.
It's a very lonely thing. We actually did a trip a few months ago, and this is without these mandates being in place. We were going through Manitoba as a group. It was a big job, and we stopped at a restaurant, and we thought we'll hit a bar. But this was power supply that we were taking to a plant to a camp that they lost power. So it was a rush job. It was critical. And we thought we'll stop and have a bite. And we truckers, 4 of us, were not allowed to go inside the bar to have food, which is pretty sad. pretty sad with the kind of services that we provide.
Especially for you guys, it's been like every 2 weeks, it's almost a different set of policies for you to apply, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's the way it's been going. It's been being laid off. Like, you know what I mean? You get laid off because they shut it down for whatever, and then you're back to just go, oh, no, we're shutting it down again.
Yeah. It's open,
That
close,
too.
open, close, yeah.
Open, close.
As well, for these truckers, like this doesn't come cheap. They're spending time away from their families, and they're also putting a lot of money on gas to make this trip. What do you think it means for them to go through all of that and to still carry on?
It's being a trucker who's been on the road. I've done that 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the road without our kids, without seeing the family and all that stuff. This is very precious time that they're pulling out from their personal life and putting our freedoms and fighting these mandates and putting them ahead of the game. You know, like the prioritizing our freedom for, you know, versus their kids, versus their family. It's a very important time. It's a very precious time that they're giving away fighting these mandates.
As well, I find it rather amazing how much support we've seen, not only digitally through certain apps where people are sending their messages of love and support, but as well in person. It's almost a single line of Canadians that are going alongside the highway to show their support. There's even from people that are just standing out there alone. There's groups that come, even colonies like the Hutterites, who would otherwise have nothing to do with politics, are joining in to support the truckers. What do you make of all this?
Glad you mentioned that. And from what I've heard, they were not allowed to feed the truckers. They were not allowed to feed truckers. They were also going to have access to Flying J and some truck stops to fuel up. They've been getting denied. There's pressure. They're trying to stop it as much as they can.
We're live right now. We're curious, why did the police block here? Because it's filled up too quick. It's filled up too quick, so they are going to have to send it. Okay.
At the same time, yes, people are getting together. I think just because the truckers have taken the stand and decided to lead this, it's given other people some confidence to come forward to. They can see that somebody's trying to make a change and they've got a voice and they will join them. And I think that's why it's a lot. It's a lot of people out there right now on the roads, like lots of them coming out. Like they haven't even made it to Ottawa yet. And you can see Ottawa is already filling up with people.
As well, there is the positive support. There is also the negative side of things, predominantly being led by Justin Trudeau and a lot of the news media outlets that he's previously bailed out.
The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing do not represent the views of Canadians.
What do you make of this? It seems like they're using extreme language to define you guys, or not you guys per se, but the convoy and the supporters.
They definitely are. They're trying to defend us. Truckers are known for their rough attitude and all that stuff, and that's true. We kind of carry that attitude a little bit around. It's just because we're in a different industry, but by no means we're soft at heart too, and we have a heart. And I don't think we are in any ways out there to harm anybody. If I can't tell you, there's been so many instances where we've stopped and helped people and worked with people. They're really trying very hard to call us racist and all that stuff, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's not how it is.
How do fellow Indian truckers feel from the ones that you know about this racist accusations?
It's all over. It's all over. Everything's that. Yes, we were big supporters of Justin Trudeau and all that stuff. When you start seeing the negative effects of job losses, oil field going down, it doesn't just affect an Indian guy or a Canadian or whatever, right? It doesn't affect just one person or the other. It affects everybody. Everybody's affected by it, and they're seeing right through it right now. And today I actually just came to know about it. I think it was 4 or 5 hours ago. One of our Indian guys loaded up a half-ton full of DEF jugs, DEF fluid that's used for emissions on the semi that they need to run, to operate. Otherwise, the truck shuts off. So he filled up a truck full of it, and just for guys who are dealing with Freedom Convoy.
And I think as well, probably one of the tougher places to go through is Northern Ontario. It's a lot of land, and there's not a lot of gas stations. There's not a lot of towns to go through. I imagine that's an added burden, I would say, for these truckers as well, right?
Yeah. That definitely is. It's a lot of country roads, and I think there's a long stretch. There's a long stretch where fuel is kind of a tough commodity to get your hands on. So,
and lastly, I just want to ask you, when it comes to the convoy and when it comes to our Prime Minister, do you have a message for both camps?
Convoy, stay strong. He's not going to back out easily. I mean, Justin Trudeau is not going to back out easily. And for Trudeau, listen to the people, people who got you where you are today, and let's grow up a little bit, and let's just be mature about our decisions. It's our life. Let us make our choices. It's a democracy. It should be common sense. Is all I'm going to say. Like, I can go all day long about it, but that's all I'm going to say about it.
Thanks for watching that, but let me point out this is only half of the interview I've done with Haru. The other half is going to be about the radio communications that truckers actively find themselves involved with on a daily basis. Now, because this is sort of hidden from the outside world, I thought it would be interesting to have a look. So if you want to hear about the way truckers communicate and the benefits of CB radio, well, you got to check out that other report, and it should be in the link in the description below once that's available. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys sticking to the end. For Rebel News, I'm Sydney Fizzard. Don't forget to go to convoyreports.com right now, as thousands are converging in Ottawa to protest these mandates and this movement being led by the truckers. Well, our chief videographer, Mocha, has been following them from Calgary all the way to Ottawa, and he's probably going to have to stay there for perhaps up to a week, even maybe more, because nobody actually knows how long they're going to be protesting for. So if you want to help keep him on the ground, you got to go to convoyreports.com. Unlike most of the media outlets that are out there in Canada, we don't take money from Justin Trudeau. Our funding comes directly from you. So if you want to help him stay on the ground to cover what is in an unprecedented situation, well, you have to go to convoyreports.com.